Ready to get started, all tied up 1-1. It comes down to a best of 3. So let's go right to the draft, Parker, before you even get to say a word. We got we'll slow start here. These teams, man, they know what they want. No reserve time used. These first bands are just like dunk, 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 dunk. Okay, let's get picking.
We see the game load, we got to run our videos, and suddenly it's like, oh, yeah, oh, okay.
But, I mean, for good reason. All of these picks, heroes that we've seen quite a bit, Troll Warlord, Queen of Pain for Secret, they really like that Queen of Pain. This is now the 3rd game in a row they have opened with Queen of Pain as their 2nd pickup. Mixed results, obviously, 1-1, but a very staple pick. I feel like you can't really go wrong.
Also, 3rd game in a row there's been a Troll first pick. So far, 2 for 2. The Troll's been the winning hero in these games so far.
We'll see if it holds true again.
I mean, not much more to say about this hero, but the targeted bans on Puppy going to continue the Chen Enigma. At some point, though, when Secret have first pick, maybe not, I guess next game in theory it's going to be ASUS.Polar with first pick if these kind of swap over continues. Maybe you ban up I feel like you got to ban the Troll and maybe give up an Enigma or a ban because this Troll is just, if it keeps winning games, it's going to become a ban. Got the Keeper of the Light, the Treant banned out in the 2nd stage. Treant seems to be a bit more of a concern for the teams when they're on that, when their opponents on the Radiant side looking to pick it up. And again, Drow Visage it seems. We've got a Drow pick from ASUS.Polar. Secret could snag the Visage if they want, but I just don't really think you want to do that. I think it's, well, Guru and Puppy not really big Visage players, but also just not really a hero that seems to be something Secret want to generally go toward. It's an interesting choice to go for it again now up against the Troll. I'm trying to think about how much of that last game was because of the Drow Visage duo and how much of it was because of all the other stuff that happened. The Techies pick, the Troll Warlord being that kind of staple guy in the backside that works very well with what Drow Visage want to do. That split play, you get the battle trance. I feel like it's not quite as potent this go-around. I think last game, we didn't also see the Drow Visage to its full potential. Like, that was that didn't feel like a Drow Visage game. That felt like a Troll game. Yeah, that just felt like another Troll game. So now, without the Troll, it's going to be, okay, Drow Visage have to do their thing. Here we go, though, the Zai Broodmother, great against some of these squishy supports. Visage in line, especially Visage, not the best at level 1. Going to have their work cut out for them to maybe zone out a Brood. And we'll have to see if ASUS.Polar maybe consider mixing up some of these lanes. They could try an offensive trialing and get like a Legion Commander or something to 1v1 the Brood. Axe was banned out by Secret, so maybe that's a possibility here when they see this. Always a scary hero in the hands of Secret. I don't really care what you have in your lineup, what your general plan is. This is a hero that you absolutely have to deal with. You know, if you leave Zai alone, he's going to farm and become a madman towards the end of that game. Split push you to no end. A lot of different builds he'll go for. We've seen him do the Dagon first build. We've seen him do the more standard Necro book. He can even transition into a little bit of a right clicker, but at the same time, if you try to shut him down, but fail in your attempts, he gets into the trees, you waste a lot of sentries and wards. Can be a big money pit where he's
10 seconds to pick.
Legion Commander gets banned out. They're going to help secure Zai in his lane by not giving that potential counter pick to ASUS.Polar.
Axe is still available.
No, it's banned out earlier. So.
Is it? Oh, yeah, there he is. How did I miss him? So, how did I miss those mutton shots?
Yeah, ASUS.Polar could have done an aggro trialing with Drow Visage lane. Even if they don't win that lane, they just have a good matchup versus the Brute. I think the other decent kind of pseudo counter pick here, which isn't going to be like a 1v1 here, is the Spirit Breaker. You just offlane a Spirit Breaker, and if you ever want to go in the Brood, having the charge for vision is very helpful. So that's the hero that stands out to me, but they're going to go Centaur instead.
Okay. Here's another one that's okay against the Brood. You can double edge down the Spiderlings, which is nice.
I don't think you want a 1v1 Centaur versus Brood, but it helps. Like later on, once Centaur has some levels in farm, you can go to the Brood's lane and clear out some Spiderling.
And his burst damage is enough that if you just catch the Brood, you hit her with a dust. If he can hop in, hit her with his combo, that usually gets her into that threshold where someone else can follow up and kind of. So it's not like a direct counter, but a hero that I think fares fairly nice. And here, Secret will round things out with Lina.
I like that Kuro Lina has this. Interesting drafts from the two teams. So you've got ASUS.Polar going with a kind of similar 5-man S lineup where they want to get the lane seed seems to be where ASUS.Polar often kind of fall behind a little bit. Like we've seen 2 games in a row, 10-15 minutes in, it's been a gold advantage going Secret's way, but then they just flip a switch, they get their initiators online. This time around in 7 Axe, it's going to be a Centaur with a Blink Dagger, but that's kind of the big item which changes things into ASUS.Polar's side, even if they're behind on the early game farm.
Well, we'll load in here and see how things get started. Hopefully we don't have too many connection issues. last game. Holding on the Dro Ranger once again. Lil on his visit.
10
No
seconds to
surprise
pick.
there. Lanes from ASUS.Polar should be pretty straightforward. Safe lane Dro, off lane Centaur, and then of course G will get on the Shadow Fiends.
Okay.
Nothing too
time for me
crazy
to
there.
learn
Zai
the
on the
rules of
off lane
Dota.
Troll, or pardon me, on the off lane Broodmother. Arteezy will take the Troll
I'll
to be
just
your
be
safe lane
skimming this
Farmer.
as
S4
you
on the Queen of
play.
Pain, and that puts Poppy on Shadow Priest. Dazzle, you mentioned that Carolina as well. Exactly.
For the most part, in their comfort zone. I feel like, I mean, ASUS.Polar definitely been going away from the Drought Visage until today. They did it, I think, once I can remember over the past week before this series, but a strat like that works in the game and you just makes you like say, okay, let's do it again, even if it hasn't been our go-to. It's kind of like during Starlighter Season 11, it was always Illidan picking Slark. We haven't seen Illidan play Slark hardly at all over the past week, but
That's true, actually.
all it takes is one game for a hero to work, especially in a best-of-5 series, and then you keep going back
30
towards
seconds to
kind of what we're
battle.
seeing here with the
When
Drought
you-
Ranger.
When you get into these longer series, one of the things you mentioned earlier on is the teams that shine are the ones that tend to have drafters that are more adaptable. See what the other team is doing, figure out what their comfort zone is, and finding a way to either ban it or counter it. And whenever you're in these longer series, a mini meta tends to kind of pop up between those two teams. You see it in tournaments as well when it's the same pool of teams playing against each other, and it just changes the way you think about specific heroes and bans.
It's time for Fantasy World
Relative to
avatars
perhaps how
to
you did
pretend to
before.
murder one another.
Horn gets blown, and it'll be one bounty apiece this go around. S4 gets one on the Quap, and Dro Ranger will get one here. Illidan. Start.
Okay, so they're going to be putting the Shadow Fiend against that Brood in the
Cool
bottom
lanes.
lane.
Puppy will stay bottom, at least for
Yeah.
now. So there's some fun synergy there. You can heal bomb the spiders. That's kind of fun. Not really that game-breaking, but it's a cute bit of synergy.
Denied.
Shadow Fiend, they'll do things a lot differently. I spoke too soon thinking about these lanes. Thoughts about the side lane Shadow Fiend?
It's going to need a lot of protection from the supports. I think they decide it's a little bit... Both him and Illidan are kind of very similar heroes by concept, just SF has a bit more AoE nuke damage, but they're both kind of just that. In the lane stage, looking to right-click, get their farm. Drow can't really push out and farm the mid lane, and will struggle against the Queen of Pain, but they'd rather make sure they have a good kind of wave clear for the Brood.
Yeah, the only problem, though, is that Shadow Fiend will have to share experience, and it looks like Lil and FNG will have to hang around in the lane if they want this to work to try and zone out the Brood. They've already put down the Sentry Ward, but
There's double sentries on the dire side to deward this too.
Ooh.
They can
One
just-
on the Brood and one on the Dazzle, so they have them split up for now.
Good play from FNG and Lil though. They'll just keep on poking and prodding, using both supports. Normally this is one support while the other pulls and does just jungle things or mid lane things, but using both supports to zone, very important. The ASUS support. But the lane's pushing out.
He will definitely find the farm that he's looking for. The last hit leader already, 8 and 5, so even denying quite heavy, and we'll get some maxed out
First
souls. One of those rare times when you get to see him go Necromastery level 1, and also one of those rare times that we get to miss First Blood. Sadoy up top gets initiated on by Kuro with an LSA.
Radiant's top
That's up for
tower is
Arteezy
being
to do what the troll does best. Chop him down.
Like Puppy's decided this bottom lane isn't going to work. He's looking to swing his way at least towards the bottom rune to check it out, but we'll see if he checking the rune or goes back towards his DD on FNG.
Checking in on the mid lane, S4, 8 and 3 compared to the 5 and 4 Dro Rangers. So it is S4 favored, but not really by that much. The Dro's actually doing a bit better than I would have thought. Oh, bottom, Dust used on Zai.
Just, yeah,
Well
he gets
played.
out of there.
Yeah, just move over the trees. Even when you dust him, that's one of the trickiest things about the Brood is she can still hide and fog even when you have that quote-unquote vision.
It was an odd dust too, because they only had the two heroes. Without Lion there, I don't think they get that kill. I'm not sure if it was a misclick or what, but yeah, that was an odd dust.
Yep. Now S4 starting to dominate this mid lane a little more as he gets a few levels to his name. Grab the bounty rune up top. Bottom. Oh, double damage picked by Lion.
Has been the full camp block. The magic bush ward going to block the full camp as well as the big camp, but ASUS.Polar using most of their sentry wards
Someone
for the
left,
lane
but
here.
they're going to
but
miss
counter
the
the Brood.
digital
They do get some more
sports.
delivered. So FNG will deward this, but this is a big gold investment for the Polar supports who are not getting farm, not able to pull. These two supports on the Radiant side are likely to be kind of like very low net worth for the majority of this game.
Yeah, and that's another one of the things about the Brood where it's not just about detection, but it's also about killing. If you buy all those wards and all that dust, but you don't find any kills, don't want to say they go to waste because they are valuable zoning tools to make space for the Shadow Fiend, but you don't get that same kind of return value you otherwise would. It is working out well for the Shadow Fiend though. 24 and 12. He is having a field day so far. This is the dream start for an SF.
That's great, and that's, I mean, yeah, he's had to share the XP a bit here, but Brood, similar story. This is not a Brood who's getting complete solo XP, and that's another hero that would like to get that solo XP so he can build up the biggest possible Spiderling army, so... the safe lane decision to put the SF there is working out well. Illidan is getting enough out of this mid lane, even if he's not even really being outlast hit by S1 anymore.
Guess they'll use the Spider to scout the high ground so Puppey can safely just move over to the bottom rune, grabs the bounty. BS4 that takes the invisibility up top. So one thing that Secret is doing better at controlling these runes. A hero like Queen of Pain, that can be a little bit scary. She can get a lot done. The aggressive runes, but mid lane still a slugfest with now the Drow Ranger closing the gap and actually taking over. So I guess maybe rune control can be a double-edged sword in a mid matchup like this.
This Drow can just sit back and last hit, but generally Drow not the easiest hero to last hit with, but going for the straight ring of backward before even picking up boots, just adjusting his item build to make this lane possible. And even getting an early point in stats, so 1 point in stats, 3 points in aura, 0 physical damage coming up.
Not concerned about finding kills with the Frost Arrows. Just wants to live. Looking at the top lane, Centaur. He was the victim of the first blood, but 12 CS. Pretty solid for a solo offlaner. Also level 5. Having a pretty good time, all things considered. Kuro doing some stacking in the jungle. He'll do the double stack here. Gets a whole Centaur army made. Has some options here for Team Secret. Plenty of stuff in the jungle for Arteezy or S4 to retreat to. No stack at the hard camp, but...
FNG spending a lot of time camping behind Illidan to keep him safe, although he was spotted out by S4, so S4 won't go diving in for that kill time soon. S4 does hit level 6, so now there's a Sonic Wave to go with his Scream.
Very quiet early game relative to these last two matches. Teams just happy to sit back and farm, and his Secret finding the advantage of about 1,000 net worth and a very minor XP edge. Lil may go down in the bottom lane. Zai gets him with the spiders. There you go. That's the kind of return that the Brood is hoping for. Oh my. Good stuff. Good stuff for the Dire.
Such a rough matchup for a Visage with the 0 base armor. Even when you get that point in the cloak, it's still very tough to lane against the Brood Spiderling. Kind of stack the Spiderlings on top of each other so you can't even tell how many are coming out.
Yeah. Even if you can see their HP bars, you still don't really know exactly how many. G trying to clean them up as best he can with the raises. Still our last hit leader, but now without the Visage here, the Brood gets a little more space in the lane.
And G couldn't help out there because he had no mana for the raises. He's been forced to use his raises quite frequently. He's got a bottle, he's bottle crowing even, but he's just unable to keep up with the rate that Zai is kind of making more Spiderlings and just using them pretty well. You can't really be wasteful with these raises here. At the same time, he also feels like he has to keep hitting Zai with raises because otherwise Zai just zones him out of the lane by using the nuke, even Ras G.
And plus Zai has that passive regen from sitting in webs. So.
In on G at bottom lane.
Is this a kill actually? Puppey on his way in. He does not have a point in the poison touch, so no slow, but it's still a kill. Zai makes it happen and spawns some spider babies. Has a little victory chant there. Nicely done, and well, the passive play from Secret in the off lane has worked out, and now they've taken over. All that hard work that Shadow Fiend had is not down the drain, but not as scary as it was. S4 in the mid, they try to jump on him. Quick fingers there. They were lingering nearby with the two supports. Stampede will be wasted.
The longest of cooldowns, but definitely a spell it's kind of like the Lion Finger or something, where when you use this, you want to be getting a kill or at least saving a high-value target. So Secret, dodge a bullet there, and Centaur, unlike the Axe, can't just really easily rotate back to the jungle and work on his Blink Dagger there. This is not going to be that kind of 10-minute blink we saw out of Sidorian as Axe 2 games in a row. This is going to be a much slower one.
Yeah. G could get initiated on the side. And again, his spiders don't get cleaned up, and it's all bait. S4 comes down, Sonic Wave onto G. He's getting low, they'll chase him that way. Meanwhile, Zai goes for SNG, shallow grave onto S4. That'll keep him safe under the tower. He'll get some bottle charges and just barely lives on about 20 HP. 2-0 in the bottom lane. Shadow Fiend and Lion in the grave.
And S4 gets a rune on his way out. He's just going to head back mid and be full HP once he gets through these bottle charges. That is huge there. Great grave timing from Puppey, and good play from G on the Shadow Fiend. Like, he did all he could as far as turning that one around. They wanted to try and stop the D-ward from happening from that Dire Sentry, which scattered out their sentry, but Secret just continuing to bring down sentries to this bottom lane, making it so hard to deal with Spiderlings. And now the pressure will come on the tier 1 tower. It seems to be we're at that point where Polar just have to abandon ship on this bottom lane.
Bottom tower under fire.
Now the tower, I'm not going to fall off this push perhaps, but this is just such a good game for the point. Zod getting a lot of space, not going for the hand of Minus, but Medallion, Bassi, Soul Ring. He's got this basic kit to really be scary. Sidoy will walk his way over here into the neutrals. And even though he has the burst damage to kill the Spiderlings, needs to be very careful. Zod's able to perhaps juke a hoof stomp. There is some kill potential here.
Like getting Medallion everyday rude pickup here, but to help around with the fast. Roshan, if you ever catch out of here by themselves, like maybe not so much the Centaur because he can clear up his Spiderlings, but like I said, that minus armor with the Spiderlings does a lot of damage.
Yeah. Or almost gets a solo kill on Visage mid. Lil stays alive thanks to the Grave Chill. That's not interested in diving, at least not yet. What does S4 have in mind here item-wise? For him on the Courier. Is this an Orchid or an Ags kind of game for the Quap? We've seen him go Orchid, I think, 2 games in a row now.
The Orchid always just seems so solid. Like, it's good for... It's not even about, like, trying to kill off heroes like your Storms and your Pucks. It's nice just against, like, a Centaur with a Blink Dagger. If he tries to blink in and blink Hoof Stomp, if you react fast enough, as we saw S4 do against the Axe back in Game 1, you silence him before he Hoof Stomps. So, I think Orchid is great even against heroes like Centaur. Against Lion, you can blink in, silence a Lion, and he can't use the counter initiation tool while you maybe focus someone else.
Yeah. The Ags a little bit better for consistent team fighting. Of course, you get the lower cooldown. You can use it to... I guess the Ags is a little bit more of a farming tool. You can use it to connect the decks if there's a big creep wave. So I guess it's more, do you want to be aggressive and gank with the Orchid, or do you want to sit back and farm neutrals a little more and have that ulti ready for team fights? One of the great things about the Ags, obviously, is it gives you great stats. So it makes the Queen of Pain a lot tankier. The Orchid, a little more glass cannon.
The two work well together. I think that first item Ags is kind of weak because you don't have the mana pool to keep using the ultimate without going back to base. Like, unless you're getting like constant runes,
which he has been getting this game, to be fair. I think he's gotten at least one of the runes on every spawn so far, actually. So we'll see. Time will tell. S4 pulling up that gold up to about 1,400, so he that decision. Lil finding his level 6, so now the familiars are on the field. And he starts skating around. Mid lane, S4 gets hexed up. They turn it around. He goes in onto G, but the Lion was there. And it's a freebie here for the Shadow. First kill for ASUS.
Level 6, so has the Finger of Death, so he'll be looking pickoffs to come from this. Roll, not going to be an easy kill. He's got the Aegis now to go with his phase, Yasha, Morbid Mask, and be the hero that they send mid lane to defend. But this tier 1 tower dropping fast.
Yeah, Arteezy has definitely gotten a lot of space this game. There is a glyph for the Dire side. They'll use it just in the nick of time. Arteezy goes charging in, stunned up, fingered right away. And that'll be the end of the Aegis. He's surrounded. Coming back to life. His teammates are on the way, but they're not going to get there fast enough. Can he even get off Whirling Axes here? No, from full to 0 in the duration of that stun lock. A little too aggressive there from Ol Artur. It will hand over the tier 1 tower. Dro Ranger getting the last hit. Can actually fight this FNG. Jukes the LSA and the Dragon Slave. Puppy graves himself as he runs in. And S4 cleans up the Lion. So they end up getting a counter kill out of it. Floppy there from Team Secret.
Yeah. He channeling his inner Hovost a bit, perhaps.
Yeah, that was very bold, just charging in there like that.
Guy's got a good chunk of money, 2.3k gold to pick up a Midas if he wants to go that build. Still good, even 12 minutes in the game. The other item which I think he likes to play around with a lot is the Blink Dagger. Kind of fade around and just be such a pest in gen.
Blink Dagger, Necro, Orchid, all those are possibilities. Or Dagon, if he really feels like he's balling out of control and can keep finding pickoffs. Against a hero like Dro Ranger, everyone pretty much except Centaur would be very susceptible to like a Dagon 5 E-Blade build. Remember that from DAC. I'll never forget that game against the Envy Sniper when Zai just ran around like a madman, zapping people down. And it was a game kind of similar to this where he got a lot of space in lane and was able to get that Dagon out at a very early time. 2,600 gold, so should see his investment soon.
Find the Shadow Fiend in bottom lane. Fairly tanky Shadow Fiend now with the completed mech. He, I think, recognizing he needs to tank up as much as possible. That is a massive Spiderling army that Zai has down here, but not something he wants to be sending into the Shadow Fiend.
Take it into the neutrals where arms safe and sound, clearing out these ghosts here. Still a pretty quiet game. Both teams happy to continue farming away. It looks like ASUS.Polar are looking for opportunity to gank. They are smoked up. Uh-oh, Arteezy, he'll reveal it. Ward on the high ground. Easy, just in the right place at the right time there. Be the end of their little smoke expedition, but they do get a ward on the high ground. Nothing crazy.
So same kind of story as the last two games, where Secret get more out of the map in the early game, the laning stage goes better for them, and Polar are waiting for that Blink Dagger initiation. The Centaur, though, is still 40 minutes in, so there's a decent ways to go, which is a bit of a worry, how much Secret are getting elsewhere on the map. Even your support, Lina, has a Yule Scepter here. It's not just the cause of Secret farming, it's even Kuro.
Dodge used onto Zai, but he's speedy. He's going to scoot out. FNG almost dies to spiders. Now Arteezy comes in while they're distracted with the bugs. Secret see this as an opportunity to fight. Requiem doesn't do too much here. They'll still do a lot of damage to Zai. Shadow's Grave. Puppey uses it on himself, and it ends up being the right play. It looked like a misclick, but it certainly worked out. Puppey will still end up falling, but makes the space for Zai to scoot out and make it back to safety. Wow, that could have been a lot worse.
Radiant's top tower
Zai
is
kind
being
of
attacked.
ran in a bit too aggressively there, and was dusted up still, so...
How did Visage not get anything from that kill on Dazzle? Fight recap just bugged out? Must be. Wasn't denied.
So.
That's very weird. Maybe if the familiar gets the last hit, it messes up the team fight recap.
I don't...
That's strange. I've never seen that happen before. I feel like that's just impossible. There's no way you can get a kill and not get a net worth gain if it didn't buy back or die.
The team fight recap, I don't know if it's been bug fixed yet, is generally... Like, if you spend all your gold before you die, it still says you lose how much gold you would have lost.
Really?
Yeah, it's completely...
Alright, I gotta stop putting so much stock into that team fight recap.
Is not 100% accurate.
It's got some issues. I know it doesn't... Does it take into account tower kills? I think it does not. Pretty sure it's supposed to just be heroes, so it doesn't even count for everything. Oh, Kuro. He's got a Yules. He'll be on the run. Stops the initiator. He does have a TP, but the Visage Familiar is flying overhead. He knows he's certainly doomed here. He'll get stunned up. Nowhere to go. Shadow Fiend will get the kill this time.
Caught the Brood as well there. They got him with the Dust, the Hex, but couldn't hit the Impale. But it's Polar who are just finding the pickoffs now. They just be a really strong mid-game team. They are getting out-farmed, but they can make up for that. They can take some objectives, maybe get the next Roshan for themselves, especially with the kills they're finding. It does seem to suggest a swing of momentum towards the
5,000 net worth, 3,000 experience lead for Secret. So they are pretty comfortable right now. All of their cores are doing very nicely, where ASUS.Polar have this straggler, and that's Big Brad here. Maybe Little Brad is what we should call him in this game. Finally gets his blink, but 16 minutes in. This is way past the window when Centaur would want to have this item. Puppey kind of bumps into him here. They cross paths, and Sadoy will blink away. That's your reveal of the Blink Dagger right there. Yep. Not very exciting.
Top tower is
Gonna be anymore. And it is 60 minutes in. Now the team on top of the Sadoy stamping forward. He gets Sonic Orchid S4 ready for him.
And Sonic Wave connects on 3. Secret just disengaged. The mech comes out from Shadow Fiend. Well, ult's used. No blood is shed, really. But I feel like any time that Secret can stop this Centaur from initiating and take a fight like that, that's a minor victory.
Oh, Illidan at bottom. He's going to be so careful. Dagon 2 has just picked up. He's coming over the trees.
Wah, wah, wah.
Another web maybe going to be enough?
Could have the bugs. He's silenced.
He's got a bat. Yeah, he
Illidan lives. Okay, meanwhile, back in the top lane, initiation breaks out. S4 hexed up as Sadoy goes in, but looks like he was silenced from the Orchid. Now it's FNG on the run. Puppey wants to dive this, but no poison touch. Can't slow him down. S4, however, on the hunt. FNG trying to juke around, but he's got no armor. The weave makes it an easy kill as they right-click him to death. Demon Witch will be put into the grave to talk to his demon friends. Now the tier 1 tower up top will fall. It is the Queen of Pain that gets the bonus goal. Now G down bottom squares up against the Requiem. And the Death Requiem. Looks like a double Requiem enough to blow up Zai. Zai gets the kill first. So that's pretty good, but Shadow Fiend does end a streak. So I don't really know who gets the edge there, honestly.
It's better for the Brood gets XP. He's like level 13 now. SF, he gets a bit of gold but doesn't get the XP for it. So I think it's still it's worthwhile for Zai to make that exchange.
Okay, there you go.
I mean, that's your top net worth hero that he just killed.
And that's his level 3 Dagon now off that. Yep. So I think, yeah, you're right. Zai will be fairly happy. Oof. So Dagon, Broodmother. A bit risky, but worth it if you can keep finding kills. The risk comes in if ASUS.Polar can find a way to box up, not give him openings to use the Dagon, then it does become a pretty big sunk cost.
And they're making the openings just by Secret the way they're looking to play. They have 4 heroes pressuring the top tier 1 tower. and then Brood pressuring the bottom lane. So someone has to, they either have to give up towers or they give up kills, because if they want to defend both towers, they have to split up their heroes, and as soon as they split up, Brood finds those pickoffs, finds those kills. If they only defend one lane, then Brood is pressuring the base, and
like S4 with a BKB coming out on the horizon. Ogre Club picked up there. Now level 3 Dagon on Zai. No much other than see the Double Curl get jumped on. And yeah, defensive fuel is not going to be enough to stay alive.
Damage.
You have any other item progression? No, not unless he has something on the courier.
this is Sol Ring.
Okay. And ooh, BKB on Arteezy. That's probably your biggest item worth reporting here. Troll finally able to come to these fights and not just get rolled over straight away as we saw when he had that Aegis.
Polar with a lot of heroes top lane. This is kind of a problem though, because it does open up Roshan for the taking for Secret. But for now they're going to go for the tier 1 tower. I think they may just make a beeline for Roshan after this. Could lead to both tier 1 and tier 2 top going down, but I feel like for Aegis for Roshan, that's an acceptable trade to get a tier 1 as well on your side.
Yeah. Tier 1 for tier 1 tower. Alright, Troll Warlord gets the last hit on the one in the mid, and the top goes to the Radiant. Now the TP's back. It will be Puppey to come back first, just to throw out the weave, maybe trying to posture and make ASUS.Polar think twice about going too deep. Artor as well as S4, mid lane, they'll at least try to trade tier 2 for tier 2. Any more pings coming out, both teams using their glyphs. Looks like it will just be an even trade. Zai has already cleared out that tier 2 down bottom, so nothing to kill for.
Or even goes scouting out the high ground to see if anyone might have TP'd back early.
Back-to-back tower kills here for Arteezy. Just picks up that BKB and now nearly at 2,000 gold already.
Is being attacked.
Was 2 towers going the Radiant's way, Illidan getting one of them, and it looks like the other just being taken out by the creeps. So they can get the 2 towers, I mean, even tower trade, and then they get a Roche on top. Without any outer towers, the TP could really to move out and contest this. Not to mention the lack of vision around that area. Just the one warded mid lane which expired.
You can tell Secret care a lot more about their towers than their access point to Roche. Top tier 1 and tier 2, take them. Our jungle, we'll be able to farm it anyway, but these are the big value towers. Tier 1 down bottom, tier 2 mid, so that they can contest a Roche if ASUS.Polar get up to some trick. It would be the Queen of Pain that takes the Aegis though, not the Troll.
Okay, S4 probably looking to maybe be a bit more aggressive as far as the fights they're taking. Got the high ground with the weak. Maybe force back. The other thing is taking the towers they did at mid lane and previously at bottom lane opens up this entire Radiant jungle to be farmed out by your Brood, by your Troll or Queen of Pain. And it makes it a lot more difficult for ASUS.Polar. Like, it's going to be kind of that, you trade jungles, which this is something we see often around the 20 to going to the late game, but like 20 minutes and beyond, teams seem to trade their jungles a bit.
Oh, it's timed on Will. He will live through the Yules, but so does Kuroki. Puppey there with the shallow grave. Nicely handled. Will goes one way, Sadoy goes the other. S4 wants the kill. Soul Burn would have been enough, but finds it with auto attack. Will nowhere to go. They get brought down to the trees. 2 for 1 across the map. Meanwhile, in the bottom lane, Zai did get jumped on. Looks like a 3-on-1. They were able to bring him down. Still a victory for Secret, and that's part of that Brood space creation. You kill the Brood, and, well, your other teammates may be left vulnerable.
Pick up for your line, which I think was just revealed by that gank. And FNG, his force or blink gets slowed down drastically by this, though. So kind of crucial pickup in some ways, but the blink in itself is often needed to find that, be that gap closer, because I'm not sure how they got the initiation there in the Brood. I think it was probably just a surprise factor as he was very deep down this bottom lane. In future, you're going to need a blink.
Zai was able to buy his level 4 Dagon before he went down, though, so his losses were mitigated. The big problem for ASUS.Polar right now is definitely this Centaur. You look at this net worth breakdown, and right now Kuro on the support Lina is outfarming the Centaur, who was their core offlaner. S4 down bottom will get killed. That's the Aegis of the Immortal down. Nice little pick for ASUS.Polar there. Okay. But this Centaur just has so little here, gods. He's got Blink, Tranquils. Now he picks up a Vitality booster. I mean, that's something, but brings so little to the table. It feels like 1, 2, and 1 for Sadoy so far. Centaur's normally your hero. He does AoE damage. You want him to be your frontliner, blinking in, finding kills left and right, and he just hasn't been able to do that.
Secret, no, this Orchid on the Queen of Pain is the answer, because S4, if he's there when the initiation comes, he's reacting every single time and preventing the Hoofstomp. Even if he preemptively stampedes, he maybe gets the slow off, and he doesn't die when he goes in, but he never gets that clean blink Hoofstomp.
Now ASUS.Polar grouped up. They're taking the high ground here. Secret are grouped up nearby. Some reinforcements on the way. Now they stampede away. They see that go. Oh, they saw he used the gust. A couple of cooldowns there. Let's just get the hell out. So they'll stampede away. Secret still looking to pursue a little bit, maybe thinking about interrupting some TP so Zai can do some rat work, pressuring close to the base. G will be the one that comes home to try and clean up some spiders, but not going to be so lucky.
You put like a Blink Dagger on Kuro, then you've got some real pick-off potential as well for moments like that where they're trying to just disperse and get the hell out. And Kuro's Blink Dagger not far away now if that's what he's going for. Could be going just for the Ag Scepter, which is also a good option against your likely builder. Looks like he will pick.
Yeah, oh, no, he just bought something. Oh, the point booster, okay, yeah. Just about to say, I reckon he probably would have bought that point booster by now, and there it is. There's your Vanguard on the Centaur, so Sidoi just going back for anything to give him a little bit of an edge and try to survive in these fights a bit longer.
He really needs the Blink saying if he gets orchided or hit by a Lena stun or... I mean, the main thing is the Orchid, but it seems worthwhile to have a BKB to guarantee that every single time you go in for a Blink stun, you're getting it off. There is going to be BKBs though for Secret, so if Secret respond, they can pop their BKBs before that stun latches.
Gotti on the way for the Shadow Fiend. G with both ultimate orbs. He is closing in about halfway to that point booster. Have it. How's the Troll doing in comparison? Good bit of money in the bank. Sanjin Yasha still on that 10-second BKB, 3.3k gold. But here's an item you talked about. Blink Dagger on Zai. Even grabs it before the level 5 Dagon. Holds level 4 and decides he wants the mobility option first.
I think with the gem up, he just wants to be able to get the hell. He'll see this smoke gank, and this is where that blink pays off. Oh, he doesn't blink in time.
Oh my. Well, would have paid off, but yeah, woulda, shoulda, coulda. Even still, though, a 5-hero smoke, or 4-hero smoke, rather, Dro's farming Ancients, for just a Brood.
It's kind of the intended result, I mean,
yeah,
for Polar, so...
It's not bad for Polar, but also not the worst thing ever for Secret. If there's one person to get picked off like that, they kind of expect Zai to be one that will fall at least a few.
Doesn't lose money, he just picked up the blink. He could have blinked out if it was maybe a little bit faster there, but you're not going to make that play every single time.
Yeah.
During DAC, he made that blink out a few times, and he'll make that play in the future, but doesn't have
a courier from
right,
Radiant's army dies,
courier
and
kill.
a piece of evil incarnate is
Tell me you have your
lifted
courier
from the
rebound.
world.
Yeah, that's the Scotty. We're on a new setup here. I think mine's actually not. Yeah, I hate that the default is F2, because if you're a caster, it goes to the vision
thing,
first, so it overrides it. It shares the hotkey. Remember to change that after this game. But that's a pretty decent courier snipe. Always good to get that bonus goal, but stopping the Scotty. 3 minutes where G will be stuck without his item. And the two ultimate orbs, the least value pickups of the Scotty. That's one of those items that really gets a lot better once you complete it. The sum of its parts are not nearly valued. What's the saying? It's greater than the sum of its parts? Yes, there you go. Scotty sucks until you actually complete it. That's what I'm trying to say.
That is the peasant way of putting it, you know? I like it. I'll take the peasant way. Yeah, I don't think Polar were necessarily looking to fight anyway, so even if he had the Scotty right now, I don't think their playstyle changes because he hasn't got the Scotty.
Very true.
They'll still look for pickups on the Brood if they can. They'll still look to stay relatively grouped up, and that's what they're kind of doing here, making their move towards bottom lane. Puppy trying to get some defensive wards to protect that Brood a little.
Scepter on Puppy.
Zai is very exposed here. Backwards.
Radiant's top tower is being attacked.
They've got the... Oh, that's a Radiant ward. Yeah. Back up.
Taken out, though.
Fill it in, double damage rune on. Sanjin Yasha, the Dro's recovered pretty well. Still at the tail end of the pack, but was off to a very slow start. Curious where he'll go from here after the S and Y.
Just survive, I think, is always the plan at this stage for a Drow. So BKB Satanic, or maybe you go for a Scotty even. But BKB Satanic seems...
Well, he hasn't leveled up Frost Arrows yet, so I guess you could go Scotty and just keep putting points in stats. That's one way to do it.
Yeah. That's where he's going That's why he's gone for the max.
Oh my gosh! Artor with the first hit back! Will was just about to TP. That is one of many things that makes the Troll one of the most frustrating heroes to play against. Plays like that. It's a 1 in 10 chance to get the bash, but when you're that close to TPing out, it feels like it should be 1 in 100.
Ooh. They're actually considering a high ground breach. Just a Visage on the sidelines, so multiple buybacks, and still actually maybe it does matter that you haven't got your Scotty. I was saying it probably doesn't, but that's 45 seconds where G's going to wait for it. They'll clear out the creep wave and...
Okay. Gonna go for this. The Rift is available. They send Arteezy to the high ground. Some damage onto Illidan. Zai zaps him from the low. I think Secret just happy to force the reaction out of ASUS.Polar. Get them all turtled up in the base, clear out their jungle as they retreat. And Roche, well, we'll see what that timer is pretty soon here. Kobold Foreman.
I think it was a pretty fast one. Pop up earlier.
Okay. You got the Foreman here with his clipboard just scouting it out, drinking on the job. Look at this. Shane goes into his body. That's how tricked out he is. He's got it implanted into his chest. I like that.
I just love that, like, this surely cannot be comfortable, like, having your hand out held, hold, like, you don't stand like...
Oh, he's got a whip in the other hand, too. I never noticed that. That's
like, that is surely not comforting. Like, he's got some good biceps, you know?
Oh, yeah. Okay. He's been cracking that whip quite a bit. Roche, wow, it is a fast respawn, just about 10 or 15 seconds. I think that will favor Secret here as they're already making a movement towards the pit. And, oh, by the way, they'll just clear out a triple stack of patience on the way. So nice and efficient use of time. Polar, though, they're not going to hand it over without a fight. They will group up as 4 and start moving towards that section of the map.
They get there fast here, and Illidan will be in charge of pushing out this bottom lane. So, possible Skadi, Manta Styles, you've already got the Yachter and the Sash and Yachter. Oh, they're not going to get to Roshan, by the way.
This guy's just melting. Fervor, man. It's so easy. This is even without Linus armor, too. Just imagine if the medallion was here from Zai. There you go, he finally loses with it at the end.
Immediate smoke as well to follow this up. Radiant Vision did not scout the smoke out. And as soon as you find out you're too late to contest Roche, you just back the hell off anyways. You know Secret are grouped up as 5, have an Aegis, and you do not want to fight except on your high ground.
And there's still a 10-second BKB on this troll ready to be debuted here. Arteezy will press forward. He does have a Blink Dagger also. I know you've brought that up a couple of times throughout this series, how good the Blink troll can be. And I think this is actually the first time we've seen it. Last 2 games, there was no Blink mobility. I don't think on either game.
There may have been one last... There wasn't one in game 1.
It's like changing pace here for Secret. Also, BOT's now up on Zai, so he can start split pushing perhaps a little more effectively. Skadi comes out on the Shadow theme, then he moves into Lifesteal. Now Morbid Mask, maybe Satanic on the horizon for him.
All are going to stay grouped here. Look, once again, make a move through their jungle. Try and catch out that Brood if possible. The Skadi SF.
Yep, does what little damage he can before he falls.
Better, slightly better than losing the Brood, so not the end of the world here for Team Secret, though. They can still maybe push as 5 with the Aegis if they want to, although it seems their playstyle is much more about getting these, building towards the late game.
I think so too. There's your Satanic on the troll. That's a big one.
They've got this 4-core lineup. Like, yeah, Brood is one of those isn't really building as a carry, but at least is building items which can have a height. Having a Dagon 5 E-Blade in late game, you instantly bring down a Drow or someone to half HP. You force out a preemptive BKB. So they've got 4 big heroes which are all going to be very powerful in late game.
FNG almost gets solo down. There it is. Okay, they've got the combo. That's a Lion on the sideline.
Yep.
Easy 5v4 to get things started. Well, 4v4 now. He's still dead. Like, get this tier 2 tower.
Top tower is fallen.
Zai just showing off his burst. That's a level 4 Dagon also, so it still gets a little bit bigger than that. That's the real problem here. You talked about Lion as well as the Visage really having to spend so much money on wards that Lion just has nothing. No real stats, just a magic wand, and that's just going to happen over and over.
And even 31-man team, you'd expect at least one of your supports, the 4 position, which in this case is low, to have an item.
Close. Here we go. No glyph available. Secret go to siege the high ground. Aegis of the Immortal on Arteezy. Zai just trying to do what he can with that Dagon to make some space for his team. Arteezy still feeling pretty healthy here. Has the Satanic off cooldown. They will just kind of slow siege this tower from the low ground. Secret, they don't hyper aggressive here, hoping that ASUS.Polar may step out of the base and they can catch one. Wait for this next creep wave to cut through the backdoor protection. What's the play here? Do you look to split push? Do you back out? They really want to make the most out of this Aegis, but I don't think they can just bum rush the high ground.
Yeah, they're going to kind of slow roll this, keep all the lanes pressured. Zai makes them move towards top lane, get some Spirelings up there, so at least we'll lure away one of the Polar heroes towards that top lane. And
on the Aegis,
let's have a pick off.
Oh, wow. They almost grabbed Illidan there. Kuro, he gets that Aghanim's. This is a support Lina, mind you, on the 4, so really great farm on him. Quite a few buybacks available here, but on select heroes for the Radiant side. Illidan, the big one, who is backing the buyback. He has the Lincoln Spear. Dagon again, hopped on the Lincolns. Lincoln's already paying for himself. Arteezy now gets initiated on. Shallow Grave comes out. 4 uses the BKB. They drop the hammer on the Centaur. The upgraded Laguna Blade enough to bring him down. They still have the Aegis. They can just do this again. Centaur pings out the gem. Looks like they will recover it. Secret winning this war of attrition so far. Time on the Aegis. Now down to just about a minute, maybe a minute 10.
Go pretty fast here. Laguna on cooldown for 40 seconds, though, so that's a bit trickier here, but Illidan, be careful.
Centaur has the buyback. They need to burn it here. Illidan gets brought down straight away. There's your buyback from the Centaur. Kuro getting low, but still alive. Arteezy, BKB on. Satanic cooling down. Remember, Aegis is yet to be deployed, although right now could be the time. Shallow Grave comes out, stunned up by the Familiar. Satanic comes back off cooldown. They finally go down this time. Making so much space. Somehow still alive. Get them back on G. There's the Death Requiem to finish off the Aegis. But meanwhile, in the base, Zai is actually on the high ground, getting vision for his team and pressuring these supports. Now Sadoy, a dieback for him. Only one buyback available of the dead heroes, and it's the Shadow Fiend. Will he burn it? I think he has to. This could be a GG push all of a sudden, Gods.
Yeah, you're getting mid lane, you're getting bottom lane, and top lane has no TP tower. That's exposed as well. It's going to go for the tier 3 and that mega creep push.
There it is. GG is called. It's Team Secret that take game 2. Now just one victory away from securing their spot at the Summit 3.
You can see just how hard it is to push high ground there. The Secret took them a few Aegises, and even with the Aegis, they had to kind of finesse that so much. They were just poking and prodding. They weren't even willing to just send the Troll and Aegis on the high ground just to brute force it. That really highlights how difficult pushing high ground can be. And ASUS.Polar, they executed, they did what they could, but it just, at some point, it just wasn't enough. Secret just a bit too polished and a bit too disciplined.